So, welcome to Metroid 2 Return of Samus. The title screen is very noisy. I'm gonna go ahead and start up here, and hey look, we've got some color going on. That's because, of course, I'm doing this through the Game Boy player. Originally, I was going to be doing this through my Super Game Boy, which, when I loaded the cartridge in, it had a pretty nice set of colors going for this that didn't just look like, well, I guess this isn't like completely vanilla, but this is probably going for what this does with the Game Boy Color, because of course I'm on the Game Boy player right now. So I hooked up the Super Game Boy into the SNES and everything, and I plugged it into the back of my TV yesterday with the composite cables to test that it was working, and the thing was working. So I was like, okay, this should be fine. I've recorded off of the Game Boy player already. Back when I did the video for Metroid Fusion, like just about a month ago now, I think that is, I was recording off of the Game Boy player. So I knew that that worked. I figured, hey, the Super Game Boy isn't going to be any different. Plugged it in, plugged the thing into the other monitor over here. The capture was working fine. However, the output to the monitor was not, which I had that going with the Super Game Boy, with the Game Boy player, obviously, so that way I could see what I was doing without the encode lag that was going on, so that way I could react to things properly. And instead, my monitor was saying out of range, and I could not do anything to change this, by messing around with the few settings that the monitor had available, messing around with the settings of the game capture in OBS Studio or in its own software, which, isn't very much to begin with. So then I took the cables out of the back of the SNES, because I was using ones that were for the SNES, and I plugged in the ones for my GameCube. Again, I got the same issue. I unplugged the cable from my monitor, plugged it into the TV. The TV was getting a preview, but it wasn't moving. And I'm sure you can guess, that's a bit of a problem for anything where I need to actually see it. So eventually I just gave up and switched over to the Game Boy player, where, well, you can see that I can switch from regular aspect ratio, which is what we're going to be playing in, so there's going to be a lot of black zone all over the place, to horrible stretch-o-vision, which looks really bad for you. It's worse for me because you're seeing that with the 4:3 aspect ratio in that little box that I've got on my stream. On my monitor, it's stretching to fill out a 16:9 aspect ratio monitor, so it does not look particularly nice, but we make do with what we have. And so, on we go. This game, although you're going to see it, the frame rate is, things are a little bit less smooth generally than on the NES Metroid. I think this is a much superior game for reasons that we'll get into. And it does start from the fact that this game is a lot more musical than that one was. And also, we start with quite a few power-ups. You can see right down at the bottom, we have 30 missiles to start with, and we're going to need them. And we get the Power Ball, the Morph Ball. We don't get bombs to start with, which is unfortunate. But hey, still a pretty good start. Oh, right. No shoulder button aiming yet. We're still stuck to 4-direction aiming, which is unfortunate. But the long beam is a thing of the past. No longer will we be held down by the tyranny of range on our default gun. Yeah, Metroid 1 had some music that was uninspiring, and a couple of tracks were, as I said before, unmusical is definitely a phrase I would use for that Ridley's Lair theme. I feel I sort of get what they were going for, but it didn't sound good. Especially not coming off of NES hardware. This, however, this is a game where they said, hey, we actually do know what we're doing, even though it's on hardware that is technically not quite as good as the old NES. close, but, you know, obviously color graphics are not really such a thing without the enhancement of devices other than the original toaster, which this came out. This came out before the Pocket was a thing, I think. So, if you were playing this at release, you were getting greens and greens and greens. Good for stopping animals in their tracks. Yeah, basically. That's a good way to describe it. And then, of course, the Game Boy Pocket happened, where you get proper monochrome, which is what I'm used to seeing this game in. Not because I ever owned a Game Boy Pocket, unfortunately, but of course because that's what I'm used to seeing it in. Emulators. I won't even front. I mostly played this game through emulators. Although it's also one of the first games that I played on the Game Boy through emulation in the mid-90s when my options were no cache Game Boy, and that was it, which had the Game Boy coloration to it, but you could also mess with the graphics colors like the Super Game Boy. Oh, ooh, that sucks. Losing your whole Game Boy Pocket, that's quite sad. I'd be so mad at myself forever. Also, yeah, I'm taking a lot of hits here, because, well, I'm bad at this. Also, just like you would probably expect out of a Game Boy game, once you start getting that low health alarm, which I personally don't think this is as annoying as the beeps from original Metroid, because they're much lower. It's more like it's just sort of groaning at you. Also, it triggers much earlier. We were getting those below 50 health, and we start at 100, so game, calm down, please. Anyway, what I was saying is, like a good Game Boy game, or, well, like a Game Boy game that you remember at all, that starts taking out some of the music tracks. It's just like Pokemon, except the beeps are less painful. Kirby Arkanoid, I think that was called Kirby's Block Ball, if I recall correctly, but I could be wrong about that. Anyway, Metroids in this game, they are not what you remember from Metroid 1. And I'm actually getting my butt kicked here, because this thing is just charging me. It's giving me the old bald bull charge. Like a good Game Boy game, State Farm is there. Yep. Alright, so that's what happens to us when we die. We just dissolve and we get game over. Amazing, I died to the first enemy. Well, there's gonna probably be a lot of death here because, yeah, this is a game that I haven't played in a very long time, although I admit that I generally have very positive feelings about it. I've always felt like this game has just been very, very good about portraying the darker, more horror aspects of Metroid in a way that the series doesn't really always cover as well. Outside of, like, Metroid Fusion, which really is just actually a horror game. Yeah, same here. I would love for that to be a thing. There's a lot of great games on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. And, you know, I also really hope for a decent trickling out of releases that's hopefully a little better than the NES and SNES stuff, and we don't have so many instances of them just being like, oh hey, well, we're going to not give you a game for one of these slots for the NES, and we're going to pretend that a cheat screen is a game. Which, you know, people have feelings about those. I'm like, hey, if that's how you want to play the game, you know, do what you want. But I think it's definitely not cool for Nintendo to be like, hey, yeah, here's one of your games for this month. It lets you warp to Kraid in Metroid. That's not a game. That's something that should just be an option in the menu on the NES thing. I think we explored what the special editions of Metroid were on stream when I finished that game, and we found out that they were not very much. They basically kind of cut out most of the game for you. They were passwords. They could have just told you that in the manual. Oh, right, they didn't include manuals either. Yeah, I definitely have a few opinions about those. Yeah, that is exactly what I'm saying, is the libraries of these consoles are quite large, or at least for the NES, there's a large amount of stuff out there that people have great nostalgia for, and there we go, I actually killed a Metroid properly. Amazing. And yet, Nintendo was just like, we could do that, or we could, you know, let you start with the Super Sword in Legend of Zelda. I can't remember the name of... Was the final sword in Zelda 1 actually the Master Sword? I know the middle one is just called the White Sword, which... You know, that's a phrase. Yeah, oh, right, Super Mario RPG is not in the SNES Online. That's kind of sad, because that's one that really should be in there. Although I wonder if, like, Square Enix is just really that, really wants that badly to not do anything with Mallow or Geno, because I'm surprised that they haven't, like, licensed those characters out either, because they're... Well, one of them is definitely popular. I think Mallow would be better in Smash than Geno would. Don't kill me too much. But setting even that aside, you know, people would love to see those back, and I think the only appearance that they made was as background objects in Superstar Saga, right? Earthbound is not... Jesus. They are fucking this whole thing up really badly. I mean, I know that Earthbound was on the SNES Classic, and back when that was a going concern, that might interfere with their sales or something, but it's 2021. You can't get the SNES Classic anymore. Oh, save point, by the way. This is one of the biggest new additions to this game that makes this infinitely better than Metroid 1. Or at least Metroid 1 as we got it here in the States. In Japan, Metroid 1 was on the Famicom Disk System and had a save file system, at least in its earliest releases. Meanwhile, they had to yank that out because here in America, they wanted to sell the game more cheaply, and they didn't want to include the save battery. So they were just like, hey, fuck you. Passwords forever, buddy. Although we did get some humor out of that in the form of Engage Ridley Motherfucker creating a literally centuries-long game. Why would you allow that to be a thing? Final Fantasy isn't on the NES or SNES Online. Again, quite sad. Although now, considering the Pixel remasters, I suppose it's not the most surprising thing in the world. Because, of course, you know, they don't want to undercut themselves because Switch Online is $20 a year. And that's a solid deal. Although that said, the Pixel remasters of the Final Fantasy games look like donkey shit, in my opinion. Like, I saw somebody streaming a couple of days ago the FF2 remaster. I think this was after Brysolf hosted somebody who was speedrunning it. And I'm just like, this is just the PSP version, but with music that's been redone. Which, you know, that's super sad. Because you can do a lot with those kind of things. There's that whole... there's the DS version of FF4. And while that would probably not get on Switch Online anytime soon, that was It's more to the point that there was some actual, like, inventiveness involved with that. That they really did reimagine the game a little bit. You know, that they did actual work, I guess, is one way to put it. It's just sad. I'm sure that I assume that Chrono Trigger is not on there either. Which, you know, I haven't looked at the lineup of things on the Switch Online in a while. Yeah, exactly. There are so many, like, obvious things that are missing that it's kind of sad. I know that licensing arrangements for certain things are a little bit weird, but on the other hand, they have Operation Logic Bomb on the SNES Online library, which, you know, personally, I think that one's pretty good, but that's a Jalico game, and frankly, I don't know what the fuck happened to Jalico. I know that they're gone. I'm probably also pronouncing the company's name wrong, but, I'm at this point where I don't know for sure. What else am I supposed to do? Just choke on it? Oh, that's absolutely a huge gap there. Shatterhand? Shatterhand is a really solid game from the late era of the NES, and it's not like they're trying to avoid super late era NES games, because they have the NES version of Wario's Woods on there. Literally the last game released for the system. I don't remember if they have Star Tropics 2 on there, which is second last. But I think they have Star Tropics 1 on there, which is pretty wild, because I'm pretty sure that those games are just offered, you know, like, here's a menu full of ROMs. Like, they don't have manuals, they don't have... I don't even know if they include the thing like they did on the Wii version of Star Tropics, where you could actually simulate dunking the letter in water on the menu. Which, to me, that really speaks to at least a little bit of they just don't care that much. Again, probably because they can't bilk you out of $6 a game now, because it's just a thing that you have access to if you bought Switch Online, which most people probably bought Switch Online for, like, Pokemon or Smash Brothers. They don't have the SNES Wario's Woods? That's weird. Alright, well, we got a Metroid shell here, so we're probably going to be getting into it pretty soon. And see, these rocks, we can't do anything about them. We need bombs. Actually, that's another thing that I really like about this, is that I think this game was one that really started out a lot better with making it so secrets and stuff are a little bit not always just fucking invisible. Kind of reducing a little bit of the trial and error gameplay for the earlier parts of proceedings. To really help you actually get a sense of build-up in terms of the more difficult aspects of the gameplay. No Ninja Gaiden 2 or 3? That's shit. I think the original Ninja Gaiden is on there for NES, right? So they're pretending, at least. Actually, I feel like that was a recurring theme for a while, is that they really were very much not putting sequels to games on there. I remember this being a point that a lot of people were having at least some contention about regarding the SNES. Because they had Donkey Kong Country on there, and Donkey Kong Country is a fine game. Donkey Kong Country is, like, a solid 4 out of 5. I would play it if I would play it and not complain if I had nothing else, and it would probably last me a little while. But it took them a while to get the sequels on there. Oh, they put out all 3 DKC games at once. What the hell am I thinking of? I must be imagining things then. Because I could have sworn there was a point where they had just the one. And there we go, there's our bomb. You'll also notice the game is telling us what we're getting now. Again, another marked improvement over the original Metroid. Although we're about to see the game be a little bit mean and not tell us that's a missile pack, but I guess you can probably guess that, right? All the Kirby SNES games are on there. I did know that there was Kirby Superstar because I was looking at streaming that at one point. So, at least they've got that going for them. They got a decent number of games, but there's so much more that could be on there. Compared to... And a lot of it couldn't possibly be that hard. Right? It is, however, quite amazing to me just how stingy Square Enix is being toward Nintendo. There's, like, almost no Final Fantasy music whatsoever in Smash, even with 2 characters from Final Fantasy VII, strangely enough, which, I mean, I guess that's the most iconic Final Fantasy, but it is very pointedly one of the most beloved games in the franchise that was never released on a Nintendo console whatsoever. Like, let me see if I can hash this out correctly. I don't think FF7 has actually been on anything Nintendo ever outside of emulation, and I'm not counting that weird Chinese made custom game that was not a Square Enix project. Capcom and Konami also. Oh, that's very unfortunate. How much of the Mega Man series is even on there? Because I don't remember having looked for that when I looked through either of the libraries. And of course, the Mega Man games, well, those are just staples of the NES as far as I'm concerned. All of it's on there? Okay, cool. Well, I guess there are the Legacy collections, right? Those count. I forgot that the OG Legacy collections were released for the break the ball, please. There we go. The Ice Beam. Oh yeah. I forgot that the OG Legacy collections were released for the Switch. I did, of course, remember Mega Man 11 on the Switch and the X Legacy collections, because after my attempt to stream X6 went south over on my my late night attempt at a birthday stream, after I like fell asleep for a while, I was like, you know, I'll just buy this on the Switch. I can, if I want to play this on stream, I can make that work. I did fix it later after Valve was like, yeah, we're not gonna refund you. Zero ZX collection. I forgot that that was a thing. I've got to admit that I'm most sad about, and I say this knowing that it would be a little bit complicated to get this all together because of reasons. There is no Battle Network collection yet in any form. You know, other than software piracy, which really does fit in with the series on a thematic level, but, you know, we don't really count that for these purposes. Oh, thank you for the resub there. And the cat jam. You enjoying the creepy atmosphere? This is more musical, as I said before, than NES Metroid. A Contra and Castlevania collection. Ooh. I didn't know about those. So, that's actually neat to know. But yeah, hopefully, a lot of third-party companies become a little bit more open to stuff like that. Because we can't blame everything on Nintendo, just most of it. No Metal Gear? It's a shame. Granted, Metal Gear on Nintendo consoles, there's, I believe, only 3 Metal Gear games that have been on Nintendo consoles, right? There's the original Metal Gear, or the weird port of it, right? Hey, shut up about Snake's Revenge. We'll talk about that later. Snake's Revenge... Snake's Revenge is a weird situation, that's for sure. Yeah, there's the OG Metal Gear, well, the port of the one from the MSX. God knows we were probably not get the MSX original on a Switch Online service, that's for sure. Maybe in a compilation type of thing. That is something I could see sneaking onto a compilation. Snake's Revenge is the weird American sequel. The actual Metal Gear 2, of course, was just called Metal Gear 2 and was, again, released for MSX computers. Oh, that was a thing. I had forgotten about that completely, actually, so thank you for reminding me of that. More to the point here. We got the Spider Ball, yes. Oh my god, I didn't know that we got that so soon. Holy shit. The Spider Ball is really good. You move really slow, but you crawl along things. You press A to get out of it. Don't go in the weeds, it'll hurt you. Oh man, that would be great. So, back to Metal Gear on Nintendo consoles. If memory serves correctly, there's Metal Gear for NES, which is a port of the MSX2 original. Or is it just it might be just regular MSX. Whatever. And there's Snake's Revenge, which is a weird game made specifically for the American market. And then there's Metal Gear Ghost Babel, also released as Metal Gear Solid in America, which is a Game Boy Color game that is like a side game. I don't know why they called it Metal Gear Solid. I guess we're just trying to profit off of the phenomenon that the original Solid was. And then, of course, there is Twin Snakes for the GameCube. And that one, boy howdy do we know about the fate of Twin Snakes. Because it was created by the company Silicon Knights, with a K, not an N. Well, I guess it does have an N later. And we all know what they did, right? Eternal Darkness. And Too Human, the game that demolished the company by being a gigantic money sink for Dennis Dyack. And then they went under like 3 years later after putting out a licensed X-Men game that I think was actually pretty okay, but I don't remember. Oh, I would love... There are so many... There's a lot of stuff like that that I would love. And of course, I'm still gonna go to bat at least a little bit for Super Smash TV because that game is a lot of fun. I do enjoy that quite a bit. I brought this up in Brian's Discord when it happened, but I actually bought a Japanese cart because I was like, hey, this is a good game. And it was still cheaper to purchase a Japanese cartridge, which is basically the same game. And, you know, I'll never say never about speedrunning it, but admittedly that was not the first thought in my mind. But there's plenty of arcade stuff from the NES and SNES era. Obviously, because there's still at least a little bit of, there was still a little bit of that idea of, let's make home arcades. Even though that was definitely not the guiding MO always of Nintendo. That was more of a Sega thing, is that Sega was really pushing the arcade quality stuff in the home, and that's why the Genesis was originally packed in with Altered Beast, because Altered Beast was an arcade game and they wanted to strut a little. Although personally, having by my own admission not played Altered Beast in the arcade, I don't quite think it matched up. What's from your grave? Still use quarters to play. Oh god, can you imagine if that... if someone who was a little bit more evil got the idea of just microtransaction out quarters for your games? That would be so bad. That would so not fly nowadays. The Genesis was an excellent console. I believe the Genesis was the first console that our family owned. At least inside of my lifetime. Goodness knows they may have had a 2600 or something before I was born, but I highly doubt it. My main Genesis memories as a kid are Sonic 2 and 3 and Knuckles, and the Jurassic Park game for Sega Genesis. I remember that one being pretty good, and I mean, some of that music is still kind of stuck in my head to this day. That was probably not something I should be playing at, like, 5 years old, and true to form, it scared the living shit out of me. A couple of times. I also remember watching my brother play Vector Man, and, like, only remembering about a couple of parts of it, and... I got as far as watching up to, like, level 6, and I kind of had to step away at that point because the boss had an attack that really did hurt my ears a little bit. Like, usually I will go to bat for the Genesis' sound. I'm having a bad time doing this, by the way. That's right, down to go that way, I suppose. Just bomb jump, you idiot. Don't press down so much. Well, the spider ball has added a bit of a dexterity tax here. However, here we can see where it is necessary to pass. The spider ball does control a little bit funkily, that's for sure. I can't get away without saying that. A Castlevania-like game for the Genesis. I can't place that offhand, Tav. But I'm sure it was out there. There was a Castlevania game for Genesis, but I'm now stuck believing that that did not come out in the States at the time. I believe that was Rondo of Blood, and while it came out in some English-speaking territories, it was not available in the US. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am. You know, I admit to not being the smartest person about this. I posture like it because I look at Wikipedia, like, all day, but I'm a dumber person than you think, that's for sure. Oh yeah, Shining Force. There were a shocking number of, like, really good RPG franchises for the Sega consoles that I feel get a little bit overlooked. Granted, Shining Force does also have a very, very vocal and very, you know, a very strong fan base. So I don't know how much I can say that. And of course, there's also the part where I think Phantasy Star has basically shot its own reputation to shit in a handbag. Oh, get out of that. Get out of the swamp. Pretend that Shrek is there. Get out of his swamp. Oh, the sounds are getting more intense the closer I am to death. I kind of like that! I mean, I don't like hearing it, but I like that it's a thing. Let me pause real quick. Absolutely. Phantasy Star 1. Phantasy Star 1 is very hard, but it's a good game. And I think, in a lot of ways, it is probably one of the more important RPG games for the early consoles in a way that, I mean, Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and stuff like that, they laid down the groundwork for the basics of how those games are played, right? Phantasy Star pushed the idea of what those games could be about. And it had it had better graphics. It had animated monster sprites, which is a thing that none of its competitors really had at the time. And you know, the soundtrack, well, admittedly, without the FM synth chip, it does lose a little bit, but what can you do? In that case, you just emulate the Japanese version. Also, I'm gonna be one of... Oh, Jesus. I don't want to fight this with 22 health, but I guess I have to. I'll be one of those people and say that I think it's really cool that Alice Landale was the main playable character. That, again, it's nice to see a little bit of variety, and it paved the way for a lot of things more than just, oh hey, video games, basically. So it did a lot of good, and I think it doesn't really get that appreciated by people anymore, which is quite sad. I wish it was better remembered. But as I said, I feel that the franchise has kind of destroyed its own reputation a little bit. Basically, everything after Phantasy Star Online, the series, at least in America, you know, keep in mind I'm doing part of this from an America-centric perspective, although part of it is not necessarily just that, but they definitely leaned a little bit more into the anime aesthetics, and, you know, I don't want to be like, they sold out, but they kind of did. They threw away a lot of what made them unique, and some of the deeper and more messed up themes of some of the games. Like, Phantasy Star Online, which, it's like, all considered, I feel there's something weird about pointing this out, but, I mean, really, that game, there was some fucked up shit going on in the background there. Even though there is so little, like, story content to it, and a lot of the game is you just running through these dungeons over and over, because MMORPG, it was pretty cool. And yeah, after that, they just kind of threw a lot of that away. And the most that you get out of anything relating to the older games just feels like blatant fan service for the older fans. In fact, I think that that's probably the overall feeling that a lot of people probably have about the franchise right now, is that it's turned into fan service in various forms and fashions. They're definitely taking a bit of a sex sells angle with with Phantasy Star Online 2, just in general, and have been for a while. Which, I think that there was always at least some sexual themes to the series, pretty much always, but it wasn't in that way, you know? I think the game plays good, though, is the thing. And unfortunately, New Genesis, they're being quite slow with introducing new content, so it reached a point where that was getting kind of boring, so, eh. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't even disagree with that sentiment. Ow. Just keep bouncing on the spike balls and slowly die. Let's get back to that Metroid with only 22 health once again. Oh, this time we can bounce off of the floaty thing. So, yeah, Phantasy Star kinda, I don't think, has as much of a positive reputation as it does, I guess. Well, up to a point at least, yeah. I was telling someone about this very recently, and by very recently I mean I think 2 months ago. There's a power-up in the ceiling. Alright, let me take a look around here. Well, there's an energy restorer there. There's a lot of hidden ceiling here. Oh! Well, also, that's a much easier way to get here. So, yeah, that said, I will... It's okay. I appreciate the help because this is not the most familiar ground to me, I will freely admit. Alright, so I'm a little bit lost here. Do I go back around through the ceiling of the other area that I left earlier? I feel like I'm at an okay amount of energy right now, as long as I don't, like, fall in the weeds at the bottom of that shaft again. I have now forgotten entirely what I was about to say. Oh, right. As soon as I said that I forgot it... As soon as I said that I forgot what I was about to say, it came back to me. I was going to say... The Phantasy Star franchise does retain one very big thing from the older games, and that is that the music is still really good. There's a lot of pretty solid music in the newer games, and they bring back a lot of the older tracks for stuff, and the remixes sound excellent. PSO2 had a really good remix of the final boss theme from Phantasy Star 4. Ceiling energy... Yeah, so basically I gotta search around for stuff more heavily, right? That's entirely fair. I gotta remember that it's a big thing. I'm not always the best about exploring shit in these games. And I certainly do not... Well, I got pushed out of the room. That's real nice of you, buddy. Do you care about the ice beam? You basically don't. Yeah, same. Absolutely. Honestly, I kind of want a remake of 1 very specifically, just for reasons of... I think more people deserve to become familiar with it, and I think a remake would help out a little bit with that compared to all of the re-releases of the original, which... I don't know that that's really hooking a lot of new people onto that game. As much as I'm glad that they're there and they have things to soften up some of the parts that are a little bit hard to do in the early parts. Oh, there's another one of these fellas over here. Right, I saw that recently. The others, I don't know 100% what the current status of 2, 3, and 4 are. I assume that those are things that you can buy through, like, Sega Ages collections or something. Maybe not 3. A lot of people don't like Phantasy Star 3 very much. It was sort of perceived as a reach exceeding the grasp kind of idea, I think. But on the other hand, there were a lot of very ambitious RPGs around that time. Fire Emblem 4 comes to mind, and people love Fire Emblem 4. I'm actually quite surprised that there hasn't been a remake of Fire Emblem 4, or at bare minimum, like a translated version available on Nintendo Switch in some regard or another. You know, maybe it could be like that 30th anniversary version of Fire Emblem 1 that they put out, you know, at the end of last year. And then removed from the eShop on April 1st because Nintendo has played us all for fools. That's just kind of like, ugh, can you stop doing that, please, Nintendo? You know, there is a point past which you cannot have any more plausible deniability that you don't want people to actually play these games, and I think when you start yanking them off of the market after 5 months, that might be it. Absolutely, there are a ton of good games in that series that are now all very unavailable. I was gonna say, you know, I'm pretty sure they're all better than what is available right now, but I realized I still haven't played Three Houses. I bought that a couple of months ago for, like, I want to say $40 after shipping from someone on eBay, and I still haven't gotten to it yet. And I know that there's probably some people who are so vitriolic about Three Houses that they'll be like, $40, geez, you got ripped off. It's a damn sight better than what it would have cost me to buy from fucking GameStop, let me tell you that right now. Three Houses does seem like a good game. It's the main thing that I can say. You know, post-12 Fire Emblems are, you know, they have some functionality to them that is not necessarily my favorite, but that's okay. If that's what it's going to be, as long as the game continues to be good inside of those parameters, that's the big deal. You know, I sort of reached a point where I can't have every game be for me, you know? There's enough people out there, and I can get into, I think, most genres of video games at least a little bit if they, you know, if the content is good. And hey, as long as that's the case with Three Houses, then yeah, good. I really sound like I know what I'm talking about, don't I? Oh wait, no, the other thing. I mean, I suppose that, like, the one Fire Emblem game that I would really not be able to get into very much is the mobile game Fire Emblem Heroes, because honestly, even for a gacha-based mobile game, that does not seem to be doing that particularly well. Like, and not even just like, oh, I'm pissed off that there's no Dart, because, I mean, yeah, I'm a little displeased about the fact that they still don't have Dart, and Canis was like a free unit who is garbage, so that's a couple of my faves from FE7 already out the damn window, but also, the fact that it is so power creep heavy and the rates are pretty garbage. Like, being able to actually get that stuff without paying them huge sums of money is not really particularly great. That's a very good feature to have in, well, in any of the Fire Emblem games. They we're getting a little more open toward the concept of class changing, starting in Awakening, which is the last Fire Emblem game that I've played yet. So it's cool that they've expanded that even further in the future, because, hey, I like the ability to customize what you're allowed to have. There were some points in a couple of the Fire Emblem games where I looked at what was available for various classes, and I was just like, well, you're messing with me a little bit, aren't you? Like, Fire Emblem 7, I love Fire Emblem 7, and again, Canis is one of my favorite units, But if he turns out like crap for you, and you really want to use Luna, enjoy waiting until literally the last mission of the game to stick it on Athos. So, them allowing you to tweak things a little bit in that regard. Oh, hi, Alpha Metroid. I did not expect to get into that fight so soon. Hey, buddy, are you stuck? Not stuck enough for my liking, but 5 missiles. We missed like 3 of them, I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's a bit rough, because then, yeah, it's not quite complete, so... Stay in their position if I leave the screen. Okay, well, duly noted. That's gonna be a helpful bit of information for when I have to fight higher tiers of Metroid later on, because, yeah, I know that they get bigger than that. And I know that the Omega Metroids in this game, they're not like the one in Fusion, that's for damn sure. Metroid Fusion, that's a really good game. I'm playing through the entire series on my Wednesday streams, in preparation, basically, for the release of Metroid Dread. And actually, I should correct, full series as in these 4 games that are in this numbered order. There's all the side stories of, you know, the Prime series, which are fantastic, and there's other mainline. There we go. That's what I want to say. So we're doing this, and then once I finish this, we're going to do Super Metroid using the old Nintendo Switch. You might hear my stand rattling a little bit. I was shaking it, so it would make sense if you did. And then we're going to do Metroid Fusion, which will also be done using the Game Boy Player. And I do love me some Metroid Fusion. I played through that pretty recently on my own time for reasons of doing things over on my YouTube channel. Because I figured, hey, A, it's a good game, B, it's a good time to talk about it, isn't it? So I guess there's nothing else to worry about over here in the Spider Ball zone. However, we didn't hear an earthquake, so there's definitely some Metroids around that I have not gotten to. This I do not believe is my first playthrough all the way. I played this game at least a little bit when I was younger. In this case, younger meaning like 6 or 7 or so. I forget exactly how old, but it was definitely back in an era where Windows 95 was the thing, and I was not playing it on the actual Game Boy because I didn't own one at the time. The first Game Boy that I ever owned was given to me as a Christmas present in 1999. And with that, the game that I got was Pokemon Yellow. There was something else too. I forget what it was. I want to say that it was a Men in Black licensed game. And it was not particularly great. But anyway, back to the story. I played this game before that because I played it on an emulator when I was pretty young. Again, back in the day when the emulator was No Cache Game Boy, No Cache GMB, there is now No Cache GBA, which I think is the name that has stuck under, and No Cache has continued developing it as a DS emulator, in fact, I believe. So, interesting how that worked out, I guess. But yeah, I definitely did not finish it at the time. So I've played through part of this game, but nowhere near all. This area, I'm pretty sure. For $10, nice. I think $10 is what I paid for just this game, many years ago, but yeah. Bart Simpson's Escape from Camp Deadly. That's one that I've never heard of. I mean, I know that there's Simpsons games. Obviously, there's a ton of them. Did I kill the upstairs Metroid? I don't think I fought one that was upstairs in this area. But I fought one that was pretty high up in the other area where the music is, like, non-existent. Let's take a quick roll around here. Go back to Spider Ball. Ledge with the shell. Right. I will go check that in just a second. I want to... Oh, there's a save point. Let's hit the save point real quick. Up from there. Alright, let's go back to where we got the spider ball. Which is all the way back here. Is there anything higher up in this room, by the way? Well, we can freeze this thing's plasma shots. That's neat. Alright, so we get our music here. This area with the vine swamp thing going on. That's... Alright, so we got a shell here. Alright. Up we go, up we go, up we go. This looks like a place I was, but I could be wrong here. Is this... Yeah, this is the room with the toothy-looking spikes. I got this one. I mean, I suppose there could be multiple rooms that look like that. It would be not unlike... Hey, stop that! Oh, someone just sneezed real loud in the other room. I don't know if you heard that. Alright. Go back out, okay. So, back to the area with, like, regular music. There's nothing other than the spider ball left here, okay. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. That makes sense now. We didn't finish climbing this shaft, did we? So there might very well be some stuff here. Yeah, so in here... Oh, gotta remember to kill it, otherwise it can contact damage us. Up we go. There we go. Don't know if it's necessary to spider ball that way, but it's easier. This looks like an area where there's an item that I didn't get earlier. No, this is an area I haven't been yet. It just kind of looks like the other room that had 3 missile packs in it. Hey. Block, please. Did I miss any 4 missiles? Sure did. Don't leave any missiles on the floor. Alright, just the 2. Yeah, there's another room that has similar structures going on, but has one at the ceiling that I gotta go back to that at some point. Also, in case I haven't mentioned it, this Ice Beam is so much more effective than the one in Metroid 1. I just really want to point that out. In fact, it might even have increased damage. I don't know if that is the case, but it definitely feels a little bit like it. Whereas in Metroid 1, it's like, hey, now you have to be very careful about your shots forever. And effectively, everything has double health. Warner pretty much owns Midway, and you thought they only bought Mortal Kombat. Huh. Good to know. So I guess that explains where the rights to, like, all of Midway and Williams Electronics shit and everything, and... Huh. Good to know. Go back and bomb the ceiling. Say where? I guess I'll just plant some bombs as I go. Oh, back a room, right? Or... I'm gonna try right here real quick. Oop. That's not correct. Ooh. Alright, let's get back up there. Come on. The spider ball is a little bit sticky to control. I don't know if that's a consequence of Game Boy Player or not. Because it has been a bit of a while since I've put this into my actual Game Boy Color. Oh, well that made a hole in the ceiling. First when I hit the actual ceiling. Okay. Do that again. Wait a second. Alright. Ah! Crap! That's not good! That's not good at all! And I redo all this. Oh! I was a little too far up. Alright, so is there more bombing to be done here? Or have I just, like, overshot or something? That's it? Oh yeah, because I'll see this again, right? This is sort of an object lesson. Oh yeah! I forgot about the Zombies Ate My Neighbors thing! Shit, man, I wonder if that's any good. I mean, the original game is good, obviously, but... He's that exact tile set 3 more times in the game. Okay. Gotcha. So... This is just a, hey, recognize this room when you see it type of thing. Fair enough. Now, I did point out a lot of the repeat rooms in Metroid 1, but in this case, they're much bigger, so I might miss them a little more. Or even just repeat tile sets. So yeah, Zombies Ate My Neighbors port with Ghoul Patrol as well, right? No Metal Warriors? I don't know very much about Metal Warriors. But it's pretty much the same group of dudes who made that game, I think. I'm surprised that there hasn't been anything really done with the Goemon series other than, well, I mean, what Konami does best, but, you know, best in some pretty big air quotes there, but you know what I'm saying. What they do most regularly, let's put it that way. And there have been no re-releases of those on digital platforms either. I'm really not sure either how exactly they haven't gone, oh hey, Legend of the Mystical Ninja, people will play this, because people will definitely play Legend of the Mystical Ninja. That game is pretty well regarded, I think, still. And Legend of the Mystical Ninja also is very interesting because aside from the names of the main characters and the fact that they changed the yen sign to a dollar sign, I'm pretty sure they were actually very, very good in terms of, like, not changing too much for the localization, if I recall correctly. You know, aside from a few minor, well, those are major things, really, but still, kind of surprising that they didn't blend everything together, considering the time period when it came out. Although my main experience with the Goemon franchise is still the first N64 game, which remains a very big wow, how did they ever actually get this thing out in America type of thing? Like, I'm still a little bit surprised by that, because that was definitely the era of localized things very a lot. You know, I think we're reaching a point where asking questions, we're just going to be left with more questions than we have answers. Ooh, back to... Oh, did we just come out of the... Yeah, so we're back in this area. We're a little early to be popping our heads back out here. I don't think there's anything else for us to do here until the lava drops. The lava that's very blue because of the Game Boy Color palette. At least I think this is Game Boy Color colors. It is on the thing. Yeah. I'm here, like, way too early. I'm pretty sure the acid doesn't shuffle down until you have like 34 Metroids left or something, so maybe even less than that, but for some reason 34 is trapped in my brain as being a really important number of Metroids to be at for progression. Which, having only one left to go to make progress would make total sense for me, because I'm real good at this. Discover an island of dinosaurs. What do they do? Fucking murder them. That sounds... Wait a second. Well, I guess they just don't want the thing that happened in King Kong to happen, right? Well, that was a giant gorilla. Not really a dinosaur. I'm trying to remember. I haven't seen much of the original movie version of King Kong, if there were any sort of dinosaurs on that island the first time. I.e. in 1933. I believe the only King Kong movie that I've seen all the way through is the one from 1976. Which is very strange to say that, right? Because that's the one that almost nobody likes. Did an LP of that game years ago? Gotcha. Might have to go look for that at some point, because that sounds like a fun one. Is there across this way? Just these bastards. Alright, nothing going on at the ceiling. So if I just go this way. Pre-Neo Geo, so 80s, right? If that was on a 40th anniversary collection, then that's pretty dang early. 'Cause I think that the Neo Geo console, home console rather, was released in 1990. Late 80s. So yeah, started as an arcade title probably, right? So, since I'm pretty sure 16-bit arcade things were very common by at least some part of the 80s. I mean, after all, the Mega Drive / Genesis was originally released in 1989 in Japan, I believe. And as I said before, that came packed in with Altered Beast, even in its original form. Alright, so that all makes sense. It's about what I thought. Set. That's not where I'm going anymore. I'm going back for health. 1989. Yeah, that's what I thought. Very late 80s, but 80s nonetheless. That's not the hole we want to go into. Next one over. Oh, okay. I think I was thrown off the time before because, oh, I could have just kept going. Right. I forgot. I forgot that... I forgot that until you realized what's the deal. Oh, right. You just keep going. Oh, now that's just rude. Block. This way? I think that's safe anyway, but let's just do this anyway, just to be sure. I'm starting to get a better handle on stopping and starting with the spider ball, by the way. I'm noticing now, you can tell that I've never read the manual for this game, that once you stop, you press in the direction. So if I'm like right over here, if I want to go backwards along that wall, I gotta go up. But if I wanted to go to the right, I gotta go right. All the way down, work every room from back to front. Well, after I check this way. Start in this direction, let's see. Ah, here you are. This is one of those games that I think I'd be better served if I, like, took notes or something. And, you know, wrote down what paths I have and have not gone. Alright, there's our earthquake! Yeah, I'm playing this using the Game Boy Player for the GameCube. This is on my cartridge, and the colors look like this. It's an unusual look, that's for sure. Other versions of this game that exist, you can also play AM2R or Samus Returns. I could have just spider-balled through that, right? Oh, okay. It's a console level thing, not a... Interesting. Right, the Super Game Boy, I really wish I could have got that out, because I put my cartridge in, and it really kind of freaked me out, because it's like, it's got a lot of very green colors to it, and a nice red Samus sprite, red and orange like this. I didn't know that the game was anything but, you know, like a regular one if you put it into a Super Game Boy. I know there's a couple of games that are Super Game Boy enhanced, like the Pokemon games, but that I was not expecting. There are points where it just overlaps or something like that. That would be very strange, but I don't know offhand for sure on that one. I'll take this bit of hearsay as being not completely impossible, because there are, like, loading zones between each area. You know, when you see it fade out and fade in, that's basically a loading zone, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like that. And I mean, sure, it's loading the graphics banks too, I would guess, just like the original Metroid. But it could conceivably be like pulling up maps and they could theoretically overlap. So I mean, I could believe that, but at bare minimum, you know, take notes, approach it like a Myst type of game or something, right? That's what those note sections in the manual are for, in theory. Oh, I would love a heal, but I'd have to go back for that. Well, there's one in the first Metroid room, so if we go for that, just have to remember to come back here because the acid is lower. 31 and 37. I'm going to assume that there's some sort of archive that I can find on the internet of Nintendo Power for sure, so that would be something to look at. Plus, I mean, I have a lot of positive memories about older Nintendo Power magazines. And just older video game guidebooks and stuff in general. And then, of course, there really did come a point where guidebooks stopped being... Well, first of all, they stopped being so commonplace. And second of all, they stopped being as fun to look at just in general. Alright, you have a nice night there, Dave. Game over. Return of Ganon. Wrong franchise, although... You know what? Nintendo has obviously done like a crossover thing before with, you know, Smash Brothers. And it's clear that some of the characters know a little bit about each other. Look at the Snake dialogues, the codec calls. I could see sort of a general purpose Nintendo crossover, more RPG-like game, I guess. Anyway, I'm going back to the room with the first Metroid to go get a heal. Because that's a place where I know there is one. I say the thing about the notes section in manuals, by the way. I had something else I was going to say, but I think the only person in here who would get it has just gone to sleep. So, I guess the thing about the notes section in manuals is that since game rental was so commonplace for a period, you really wouldn't get hold of that, and of course, if you did, you probably weren't getting it the next time you rented it out for a weekend. This one at the ship. That's a good point. I think that might be a little bit longer, though. Yeah, so... Video game guides, that was the other thing I was talking about, that they reached a point where they became less commonplace and they just generally became less good also. I think up to a point, maybe the big killing moment there may have actually been the one for Final Fantasy IX, the rather infamous one where it was just like, oh, well, here's a vague 0.25% of a hint, but if you go to playonline.com, which was Square's website at the time, and you, I think you probably had to pay more money in order to actually get anything out of that, too, so... Double fuck you, right? Come on. Blockbuster. I do miss video rentals and Blockbuster in general. I also remember a time when Blockbuster rented out consoles. And, like, they were in these... I seem to recall, like, basically a plastic suitcase. You know, it looked like something you could conceivably hurt somebody with. And they stopped doing it after a point. I don't 100% know why, but they just were no longer there after a couple of years. Like, by the time... Well, certainly, by the time that I moved away from Chicago, well, there was still a Blockbuster store, semi-local, and they did not have console rental there. So many people spilled soda in them. That makes sense, then. That's, you know, fair enough, because that's kind of a big problem. Repair and replacement costs, you know, that would eat well into the cost there. Even though I think that those were like $15 to rent for probably a weekend. Oh no, I completely believe that is... actually why it was, because, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of a Butterfingers. I would probably have done it by accident too, and been like, well, shit. You know, I guess that's where you put in the you break it, you buy it policy, but that still might cause some issues. Also, of course, once you had consoles with hard drives in, that's gonna be, you know, there was always sort of the risk when you were renting a game at a Blockbuster, especially if it was one that was pretty popular, and you didn't just rent it consecutive weeks, that you would be getting either a different cartridge for the game, or your save file would be gone. I mean, come on, we were pretty young at that time, right? How many folks really respected other people's save files? I sure didn't. But I also definitely rented a Pokemon game at least once, so that's that's a place where that issue is gonna get a little big. Oh, that's acid. So, once you reach the point of consoles having hard drives inside of them, if they had still been doing that program, imagine that, but on a level of the entire inventory for the console. I think that some people would probably have had strong feelings about that. I personally would have certainly looked at it and been like, ooh, I don't know how much my chance I want to take there anymore. But, hey, I don't particularly know, because it didn't happen. And we've got these things going on here. They're a little bit weird looking. They sink you into the sand. I did not remember that these got you stuck in the sand. I know that, of course, they dropped to solid ground, but... That's a lot of work that you went through for that. But hey, you know, you gave him something that was fairly commensurate, I guess, but... Then again, if it's the old Pokemon games, where they have to go through more work to see what anything in the boxes are, you could have just given him 2 boxes of Pidgeys. And it would have taken him like 20 minutes to find out. And... Well, there you go. I kind of wish that I'd had... Well, saying that... I can't really say, hey, I wish I had more friends that I could just be like, hey, let's do this to get our fossils or whatever. I don't know if I would have necessarily played that good about it. Ah, well. It all worked out in the end. It's quite a story you've got now, I guess. Still a lot of work that you put in for that, right? And then finding out that he doesn't care. Oh, this guy's a jerk. Thankfully, predictable movement patterns. We can get through there easily enough. This we want... Oh, we can get away with this without having the spider ball on. Okay. I was fully expecting there to be an invisible... and by that, I mean the opposite of an invisible wall. Where there isn't actually a barrier there. Ow. But it looks like there is. You know, sort of like that one room in Super Metroid that leads you to the drop-down where you find the Edacoons. That room. With the fake wall. And so we got this tube thing here. If we want to be able to get into that tube, we have to actually drop through the tube, right? Or is that not the tube from up there? It just looks like it. Ah, hey! Ah, these things shoot real fast. Can I damage it now that it's frozen? Try a bomb. There we go. That'll do it for us. That comes later. Okay. Cool. Also, for some reason, this water doesn't slow us down like the water upstairs did. Even though that very much looks like, well, like water. Let's save it low health, because that's a good idea. I hope there's a... I hope there's a healing doodad around here, because I could use some health. Because these spike guys hurt. 15 damage a whack? That's quite painful. And they got movement patterns that take a little bit of me getting used to. No heal nearby. Alright, so I guess I'm gonna have to go back in a second to go farm from the little gun thing. Oh. Alright, we're taking a bit of a risk here because I usually take like 3 to 4 hits from these fuckers. Anything going on here? Can we get down here? Yes, we can. Alright, so this will lead us over to the tube. Let's drop. This... Alright, so we got some... Oh. So I don't remember, by the way, if he's around here, but I'm just having this bit of fear that I'm gonna run into Arachnus, who is very much not a spider, but certainly is a bonus boss that carries the Spring Ball. I believe it's called the Spring Ball in this game. It is called the Spring Ball in Super Metroid, but oddly enough, in Metroid Fusion, it's called the Jump Ball. Up one more level, I'm close. Okay. Duly noted. I would prefer to have more than 21 energy to fight Arachnus, but... I'm going for the ceiling missile. I seen it. There we go. Yep. You know, if the game's offering them for free, I'll take them, right? Ah! Wasn't sure if that could hit me, and it could. That's a problem. More wall guns here. Those things don't drop nothing. Wait a second. Am I on the wrong side of this area or something? I can completely believe that, or I gotta go in through the ceiling. Oh, that positioning is really not my favorite. There we go, that's better. Different room, gotta go all the way around. Well, crud. Nothing to worry about down here, I don't think, in terms of bombable substances. Oh! Bomb that, which will let us get a nice quick passage through here. Double check that is... It sure will, but, So if I want to get on the ceiling... Dang it. That was just really badly done. Whoops. Alright, let's see how far back I am. This is right after the little gun, right? So I can go back and go get some health. This is what I can farm for health, right? If it decides to not be stingy. Oh, it's dropping to 20 points. That's good. There we go. That's better. Drop rate kind of seems to be a little bit stingy, but... Ow! We'll get there eventually, I'm sure. No need to space out the timing on my hits, so... Excuse me. Alright, so it seems like you can take damage from my beam but not die. That's very strange. I'll just use bombs. I mean, we can see they can be frozen. That's... So that part at least makes sense. But you'll see here... Oh, no, I was wrong, I guess. I may not have been doing any damage to it whatsoever with the beam. He'll die from the beam? Hey, you're right! Okay. It's just that bombs take fewer hits. Duly noted. I did not realize that. I was about to be very, very confused. I guess our bombs just hit that hard. Which I guess kind of makes sense considering how they're not easy to use. In most Metroid games, you use them for very specific combat purposes only. Although they are the best choice to use in those specific purposes, so... There we go. Alright, we got full energy. Well, I mean, sure, we can talk about the various suit now. And basically whenever. This is the first game where it gains its large shoulders. Which ended up just being a recurring design element because they liked how it looked, I suppose. And to be fair, let's turn out. Go in a shell. I will do that. This is where I got that missile pack. Yeah, the missile pack earlier, right? Is it a missile pack? I don't remember. Get it from this one. Okay, so I can go do that in just a second. Oh no, right. This is where I'm past that already. I am getting a little bit confused. I'm also taking a lot of hits. That's not a place to go. Back it up. Back it up. Did I just see it? No, I'm confused. Okay. I just gotta go get it. So go back down. I'm gonna assume to go back down. This way. Dodge the parachute guy. Oh, there's a couple of them. Oh, this is safe to go in. I got confused. Well, for a start, we can grab this missile pack. Oh, we can just go right through those. This way. And the stairs after the Metroid. Oh, jeez, it's on a terrible level for me. Can you get on my level, please? Stay a little closer. The stairs after the Metroid. Let's lay down bombs here. The left on the ledge. Okay. Go back. Ah, okay. It's just a wall you go through. Stay in Spider Ball in case there's something that's coming by that'll screw us. Another missile pack. These are always nice. We got 97 right now. I think our max is probably 110. Or thereabouts. Which is pretty solid. The stuff in this game... We've only killed 7 Metroids in the past, like, 2 hours. But other stuff is pretty nicely spaced out in a certain way, at least. Alright. This way. Let's go up the tube. Ah, yes, this is... Here. Buddy, you got no item for me. Oh, if we die, we can get another, That's interesting. Okay, so we can see where the one that has the item is. We just have to get to it, right? Can we just bomb these? Yeah, we just bomb them. Okay. It's like, they won't pop when I shoot them. It turned out it's a lot easier than that. This one you have to shoot in order to get the Varia. Or Varia suit, rather. Depending on which game in the series you're at. And there you go. There's our nice heavy armor over the joints and everything. Like, here we're getting a really good look with, like, just how heavily armored the arms and everything are. Oh, that ball sprite looks really odd. This looks pretty neat. I like the design of the Varia suit in this game. Yep, the power shoulders. I was gonna say, can we face the camera again so we can look at the boots and everything too? Unfortunately, I don't think the game's gonna be that nice to us. That's not bad. Of course, eventually, well, I say this, and it is very much a thing from Super Metroid that the Varia suit reduces damage by 50%. As I realized that in Metroid Prime, an 80s boardroom, nice. In Metroid Prime, the Varia suit is much less of a defensive boost. I think it's only 20%, and then the gravity suit is 40%. And the Phazon suit is really good. Like, the Phazon suit might be 80 or more. But that's in Prime. In Super Metroid, it's half damage for the gravity, half damage for the Varia suit, 75% damage reduction for the gravity suit. And, well, in Metroid 1, I believe the Varia suit is a straight... Yeah, it's 50%. We saw that when we played it. And I think I commented on it at the time. I don't remember what the numbers are like in Metroid Fusion, but in that game you take so much damage that anything is good. Keep going left. We are definitely, unless you meant back in the room where we got the Varia suit, in which case... Oh, I'm quite confused. Keep going left, back in the room that we went underwater to fight the Metroid. Because I knew that there was a thing we could go in, but I couldn't see if it could go in below me now. Okay. So, here's where we're gonna just start a bit of a bombing campaign here. Just to make quite sure that we can find this, you know, with fairly minimal difficulty, if anything. Because, yeah, especially in these early Metroid games where you don't have the X-ray scope, and where the graphical fidelity, where you can only have so many graphics in the thing. is what I mean to say. This is just your best way of finding hidden stuff. Alright, so it appears to not be in the water. But we can go along this wall, and we can probably find it sooner rather than later. Unless it's in the next room over, because I see... Let's go back down here. I can see some stuff going on over there. I said I can see some stuff going on over there. And that looks like it could be hiding a hidden passage. This one's reused too. Well, if you don't know, that's fair enough. We can always work this out, and, you know, these are casual playthroughs. I'm not going for the best ending. Especially not once we hit Metroid Fusion, because yikes. Metroid Fusion is a tough one to get the best ending on. You've got to get everything, and you have to beat the game in 2 hours or less. That is pretty rough. And I'm not that good at the game. We get what we get. I'm surprised I didn't get the worst ending in Metroid when I streamed that, because I had never played more than like 3 minutes of that game before. And I was so bad at some parts of it. Hour 48, not bad. Ah! Jumping off of those shells seems a little bit rough to do sometimes. Alright, well, here's one of these. Oh, that's a biggie. That is a... Gamma Metroid is this stage? Right, because it'd be, It's Alpha, Gamma, Zeta, Omega, right? And I think maybe Samus Returns adds another one in the middle or something, because the progression of this game can feel a little bit funny otherwise. Could be wrong about that. Could just be imagining the concept of a Sigma Metroid. Because... goes from Zebus to SR388 to Zebus to SR388. Yeah! Yeah, in the main series, there's not much else outside of that, and... I mean, I guess at the very least, they're going to a new planet in Metroid Dread, but of course, that's because Zebus and SR388 have both been blown up. So they can't really go back to those. Don't land in the swamp. We don't need to take more damage. Is this near where we fight the Metroid in the sand blocks? Because I know that there's an area where we fight a Metroid in sand blocks, but that might be further into the game. I almost said far further, but I don't know that that's necessarily, you know, the thing I need to say, just further in general. Oh yeah, this is it. Oh, this is gonna suck. Please just be an Alpha Metroid. That was too much to hope for, wasn't it? Hit the button as hard as you can. fast. Feed this thing many missiles as it'll eat. Woo! We're getting pretty severely toasted. But there is a health refill here, thank fucking goodness. Oh my god. That had me very nervous for a bit. There's the other area with the collectibles that I have to go around. I don't know how to do that offhand. Can't even say I don't remember, because, well, I have to know in the first place to not remember, right? And I do not. I assume that's something we can get to later, though. And otherwise, I don't know where there's another energy tank. But that would be the thing that I would want the most right now, because while my missile supply is hurting a little bit because of recent fights, the max that I can carry is pretty good. Especially if I can find a reloader. Which, that might be it. Maybe that's on the other side of here, because I feel like those usually are seen fairly close to each other, a missile reloader and a health refiller. If it was, that'd be real nice. That'd give me some semblance of a sense of security. Oh, we gotta... Alright, we got an easy Metroid here. Nice. That'll be number 11 for us. Well, this is a dead end. There's something around here, though, isn't there? I'm just gonna take a quick guess at that. Start bombing out all the divots in the ceiling. I feel like they're certainly not going to be on the shorter piles, right? The smaller rock piles? That's not likely to be a thing. Ooh, alright. Start removing this stuff. That might help us find our way around. This screen, though, this one looks familiar, because I think we've seen a pattern like this before, so that makes me think I missed something else earlier. Oh, does that not want to be removed? Really? There's nothing in here, huh? Or am I just missing it that badly? That's always an option. Nothing to find in those rooms? Well, alright. Ah! Let's take this way. The overland route, as it were. All the good stuff is up in this area. Okay. Well, that's nice and simple to figure out. Alright, so not much to worry about down here. Now that we've gotten all the Metroids out of here. Wait, was there anything over on the right-hand side of that? Might be just like a save point or something. Oh no, this is just the dead end. Is this just the dead end from earlier? Is this where I fought a Metroid earlier? Yeah, this is the same dead end room. That's the pattern that I mentioned earlier. I think I fought something over here. This was probably like our first Zeta Metroid encounter. Or Gamma Metroid, rather. Zeta Metroids are much later, and they are a lot nastier. And if I recall correctly, they have an attack that can block your missiles pretty easily. That's just what I'm remembering from seeing playthroughs of the game. Okay, we're at the bottom of this shaft. We are back in the brick zone. Let's go a lot slower. Yo, might be something over here. No. More yellowish bricks. Alright. So, back in here. Can we go upward from going along this wall? Oh, we can do this. We can also screw it up a little bit. At that point, well. That's just to be expected from me. I didn't switch back to Spider Ball fast enough. Okay, which way is gonna... That's better. Dang it. Unfortunately, I stood up because I guess I pressed up a couple of times there. It's going to take a little bit of me not screwing this up, basically. Screwing around. You screw around too much. I'm not very good at this game. And there we go again. I thought I was out of the blast radius that time. No such dealings. Alright, so we got some goodies over here. And it's at least set up like that. That's a nice long pathway. Bomb through to... Eh, what am I kidding? I can just go the long way. Ah, these guys again. we go. I probably don't need Spider Ball this whole way, but I started and, well... It's okay, we can take more of this atmosphere in. What is this thing? Well... It felt like letting us over eventually. I could probably have fed it some missiles or something, and it might have... That might have been the more proper way to do it, but... Shoot the little atoms? Hmm. So, being over here... My question is this useful? Judging by those spikes, I'm gonna say no. Actually, there's the little gap in the wall. I'll come back to that in a second. After I see what else is going on around here. Okay, so that leads into a room with a save point. That's going to be important very soon. As it'd probably be a good idea to save. Yeah! Thought I got past that. I feel like that dude has a way bigger hitbox than it looks like. Oh, is this just where I've been before? Yeah, I'm going way too far back. Ooh. Well, I guess mystery solved. And the area with this music... Is this back where... Or is this really just going to be like one room? Alright, so this room has the... No, this is what I was thinking of, I think. Yeah, okay, so we've got... Stop juggling me like that, come on. And we'll just... Nice beam it. There we go. Wow, those two save points are like right next to each other. I didn't think about that until now. And unfortunately, because I don't have great memory of locations, like this music is throwing me back to, oh hey, I was in a path towards Arachnus earlier. How far off am I from that? It's further down from the save point, but before we get to the area where the music disappears. Incidentally, speaking of this music, this is actually like one of my favorite pieces of music on the entire library of games for the Game Boy. It has just stuck with me for... well, since I played this game in the 90s. So that'll be, what, almost 25 years by itself? And I'm not 100% sure why, but It just has. Save. Okay, yeah, so that's just a small area of save points that have that music. So if we want more out of this place, I think we gotta go up. We may have to go up in the nearby shaft, yeah, because there's the spikes. That's right. Ow. Up we go. Yeah, we already know about that, so there's probably not going to be much of anything else, because this ceiling is pretty lengthy. And we traversed a little large length of it to get those missiles, more to the point. Up we go. Ooh, here we go. We've got a Metroid nearby. That nearby, in fact. It's still just an alpha, though, so this fight is basically a freebie. I can't believe I got hit. I see something down there. It's health. Could really use some missiles, though, because 40 is a decent amount. We could get into some fights with that, but I would rather be a little more secure about myself. Eh. Up we go. Around the outer edge here. Is that another source of friendly neighborhood ceiling missiles? Looks like it. No, it's just a ceiling port that looks like it. Oh well. Keep going. The game is not amused by me continuing to keep going there. Let's get on the hole. Five. And what's in here? Ah, here we go. Here's old boy Arachnus. Do you respond only to missiles in the face? Well, your shots tank those missiles, so that's not so good. Ooh. I mean, at least they provide energy if we break the shots, right? So that's something. Is that not your thing? Big damage from bombs, though. Alright. Okay, please stop running into me like that. I said please. Oh, that's not too hard of a fight to do. But there we go. We got the Spring Ball. And it does exactly what you think it does by that name. It lets you jump with the ball. When you're not in Spider Ball mode, of course. Other way, is there, like, anything around here? Let's do a bit of a bombing run. If I remember to keep them on screen would be a good idea. Alright, so unless there's something over on the side wall, it looks like no other secrets in this room. This is just the source of the Spring Ball. And I mean, by itself, that's pretty great, so. Can't even complain that much about that, right? Oop. Okay, this is not what I thought it was. This is a whole other room. Still, not bad to get another couple of Metroid kills in or something. And there's our earthquake. That is letting us know that we can move on to the next section. I missed something in there, didn't I? Let's go for bombing run on the ceiling here. Because it looked like we couldn't get anything out of the under area there. It's in the floor, alright. Around here? There. Alright. So we're in this under area here. Looking for the far corner spider ball. Oh, okay. Alright, go through here. Take the pipe down. Go down real slow, just to be sure. Alright, so this area, this looks familiar. But I don't remember if we were actually here before or not. There was an area in the wall that we could get through, so note to self about that. Is that the next place we go in? Alright, I can do that. Tube. Hey, that thing was worth missiles. Ooh, the wave beam. That's nice. Ah, the wave beam. Makes a very strange sound. The wave beam is something that we did not get to show off in the original Metroid. Because I just picked up the ice beam and was like, let's just go with this for the rest of the time. Alright, spider ball. Unless it's something I got a spider ball over there for. It might not be in this room. It might be somewhere else you're thinking of. Yeah. Go ahead and make a couple of shots of that. Wave beam looks exactly like you think it does. Does pretty good damage. Sadly, we don't have our ability to freeze enemies anymore, but that's okay. It can also go through walls. Okay, so I needed these to be able to shoot the tree things. Okay. Gotcha. I don't suppose any of this area can be bombed into, right? The black space there is just for looks, right? Alright, so over to the right. Nah, we don't need to do this just yet. Over to the right, this room looks familiar. Ooh. Alright, so let's spider ball up. Get my movement controls there. High jump boots. I don't have the high jump boots yet, so that is an important thing that I'm missing. If it's in here, well, then we know where it is. I broke sequence. Perfect. Yeah, because what happened was I just bounced on the top of the trees. If that's like the big thing, is that's how I sequence broke to get to the spring ball first. Alright, so we're going to spider ball and we're going to check the corner. Oh, I think there was a place where we clipped. Yeah, there we go. Oh, here it is. This is the items I was talking about earlier. Yes. Oh, that's good. Good stuff. Give me that health. Yes. Oh, I'm so happy. Although, I really wish I had full missiles right now, just because 17, if I see a Metroid fight, I gotta back out of that shit. That's okay. We got there eventually. Do you know where there's a missile refill close by, other than, like, just going all the way back to the easy ones that I know of earlier in the area, or earlier in the game, rather, because I gotta go back up there, and it's a bit of a trek. That's just a spider. Sorry, it tells me how many Metroids are in the area. Oh, right. I forgot about that. Although we did get... I think we got the Earthquake earlier when we fought the one that was in the Chozo statue-like room, so... Unless we're in the next area already or something, which I suppose is not impossible. No, because this is... You know where we are. Ah, right. These are missile tanks that I lost the last time I game over. So it's nice to get those back. Yeah, that's the place where we die if we climb up there. And this should be back around this area. So this is just a source of some items, and me getting oddly stuck there. We were just over there. Oh, getting through that with the wave beam is going to be pretty hard just because the things respawn after I get off screen. Alrighty. To get out of here, we just want to go back up to the ceiling. Back up through this pipe. Now, going through these tubes reminds me a little bit of that part in Super Metroid. Right after you kill Spore Spawn and you go get the super missile and you just jump on one of the enemy pipes and you drop down it. Merge out here. Before we save, I'm going to go max out our energy. Because that thing's just right there. Alright. I need that save notification to leave for me to pause, I guess. Alright, folks. I've only been live for about 2.5 hours, but I think that's going to do it for me for the night. Thank you all for watching.